Friday and a BNI for detained Gifty Oware. Gifty Oware, Deputy Director at the National Service Secretariat. Na yin names ghost names be about around 45,000 people ghost names are or the share payroll nima each month be ana or no and then a be ne other group of MPP people no more withdraw sikan na omudi. Yin ebe kaya during Mahama first term as president no this issue ni bisi Emma President Mahama ejeli eye abuga pele no ye NDC ni nti omo enam radio so ka se o wase we anko baby an President Mahama first time bisi abuga pele ekujio abuga pele ye President Mahama downfall osa ye NDC ni still na President Mahama edena court ema ejeli no nti this Gifty Oware issue no I believe that President Mahama ni NDC for follow through na de o se ye to mu bia na de differ na punishment bi o mu deserve no ye de amom na BNI arrested on Friday no o ma money built up to now no Gifty Oware eda so she BNI for sales na no MPP for kasa be brave but still na BNI for say obesha sales nim into on Monday omo de ne be court na se court be money bail and fine court and money bail they will send her I refer to her say him because Kevin Taylor they be coming near Bema.
Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Authority, Gifty Oware Mensah, has returned to Ghana after weeks outside the country. However, Madam Gifty Oware was not immediately arrested at the Kotoka International Airport. Media reports suggested operatives of the National Intelligence Bureau were planning to whisk her away immediately she arrived in the country. The former deputy boss of the National Service Authority is amongst top former officials of the authority under investigation in connection with allegations that thousands of ghost names were used to siphon millions of Ghana cedis from the state coffers through a payroll fraud. My colleague Godwin Asediba was at the airport during Gifty Oware's arrival and has come through with this report.
Former Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Gifty Oware Mensah, arrived at the Kotoka International Airport today, March 4, 2025, at approximately 12:30 p.m.
I'm aware that Gifty arrived this afternoon. I've been in touch with her. She's here in Ghana. She arrived this afternoon.
Her return to Ghana marks the end of a period of speculations about her whereabouts following allegations of her involvement in the NSS payroll scandal, which reportedly involved the insertion of over 81,885 ghost names into the scheme's database, costing the state millions of Ghana cedis monthly. Minority leader Alexander Afenyo has indeed confirmed that Oware Mensah will make herself available for questioning by the National Investigation Bureau, which is the NIB, regarding her tenure at the NSS office where she oversaw administration and finance there.
She did not run away from the jurisdiction. She had traveled out. She traveled out freely. She came back to Ghana. She's entered the country freely. However, the NIB officials reached out to me and that they needed her. They have also reached out to her lawyers, and the lawyers have been in that discussions with them. Today she's in town. She will make herself available. Whatever that they have to ask of her, I'm sure she'll be able to deal with it. And I'm saying that nobody has harassed her as far as I'm concerned, because I've been following, engaging her, and so far nobody has harassed her.
This follows reports indicating that NIB officers had planned to arrest her upon arrival for interrogation as part of their probe into the alleged payroll fraud. However, key figures from the New Patriotic Party and whose administrations she served are reportedly mobilizing to accompany her to the NIB officers, suggesting political support amid the unfolding investigation.
MPP is not against accountability, me inclusive. We've been in public service. We are out of office. Obviously, if the new government needs former officials to explain certain matters in one way or the other, is within their right to pursue such. And if it means investigating, there should be no problem. What is important is to follow that due process. And once due process is being followed, why not? I mean, after all, once you get into public office, you must all be mindful that...
Did it take a lot of convincing to bring her back into the country?
No, the person was not running out. She was on holiday. You know, this era of social media.
As you may have witnessed events happening at the Kotoka International Airport, the situation remains fluid. Oware Mensah's next steps, presenting herself to the NIB, will likely determine the trajectory of the investigation and her public standing. Authorities have yet to confirm the exact timing of her questioning, but her arrival signals a critical development in the ongoing effort to unravel the NSS payroll scandal.
As Gordon Asediba there, giving us details of what happened at the airport. You had Alexander Afenyo, the minority leader, talking about the fact that the NPP is not against accountability and they're going to make her available as and when the National Intelligence Bureau calls on her to answer questions, as we've seen in the previous instances. If you recall, during the State of the Nation address presentation, the President, John Dramani Mahama, in fact, ordered the NIB to look into how some 81,885 suspected ghost names found their way onto the payroll of the National Service Authority. So what exactly did the President put out there an expectation of the National Service Authority investigation? Let's recall that to put the issues in perspective right now.
She did not run away from the jurisdiction. She had traveled out. She traveled out freely. She came back to Ghana. She's entered the country freely. However, the NIB officials reached out to me and that they needed her. They have also reached out to her lawyers, and the lawyers have been in that discussions with them. Today, she's in town. She will make herself available. Whatever that they have to ask of her, I'm sure she'll be able to deal with it. And I'm saying that nobody has harassed her as far as I'm concerned, because I've been following, engaging her, and so far, nobody has harassed her. MPP is not against accountability, me inclusive. We've been in public service. We are out of office. Obviously, if the new government needs former officials to explain certain matters in one way or the other, it's within their right to pursue such. And if it means investigating, there should be no problem. What is important is to follow that due process. And once due process is being followed, why not? I mean, after all, once you get into public office, you must all be mindful that...
Did it take a lot of convincing to bring her back into the country?
No, the person was not running out. She was on holiday. You know, this era of social media.
Well, so that's Alexander Afenyo there. Let's bring in Martin Pebo, is private legal practitioner and also a member of the Operation Recover All Load Preparatory Team. They've handed over their report to the President. And also Richard Komado is a security expert and consultant, a former NIB operative. Gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, good evening. So thank you.
Great. And I'll start off with you, Martin Pebo, because this is one of the cases that was recorded by your team, the oral team, even before the NIB started their investigations into it. Hearing that Gifty Oware Mensah has arrived, we understand she was not arrested or picked up by the NIB officials at the airport, but in the coming days we might hear an invitation extended to her. How does all of this strike you?
Yeah, it's a writing by the NIB, because so far, from what we are hearing, definitely Gifty Oware should go and answer specifically the matter of the good name. You hear Felix Fusu-Kwachi, or is it that Felix Kwachi Fusu, right? Sorry for mixing up his name, Kwachi Fusu, saying that the numbers have dwindled by half. That's the numbers that while Gifty Oware and co were in office, they presented as national service personnel has dropped to about half. They have mentioned about 81,000 and something, right? Those numbers have gone off. So she needs to answer. That is very, very critical that she does. And you know, the fourth estate did a good job at that. And they did a lot of the checking. And so I would be very surprised that she should not be asked to answer. She definitely has to. And I hear even in opposition to she. But once they were in opposition, she once reported there and tried to impugn his credibility. And I'm like, oh, so you want to impugn somebody's credibility? And then you go and get yourself ensnared in such allegations. So let's see. Let's Gifty Oware do an answer. Especially as you remember, this was the first time. I remember the scholarship thing. She took scholarship, right? That one too brought a lot of brouhaha. The government officer, she was taking a scholarship at a time that the citizenry felt like she was privileged, so she should not take that scholarship. Yet she took it, and now there is this second case of good names on the national service payroll. So let's see how it goes.
I see, and you hear Alexander Afenyo talk about due process and the fact that due process must be followed in the process of arresting her or questioning for that matter. And so is it one that you would also support?
Oh, absolutely. Being a lawyer, I have no option but to support that due process be adhered to, because we all need due process. Otherwise, there will be chaos. So definitely, and let's also even forget that I'm the same person who took this case of table number 2 versus Attorney General number 2 to court. That's an unbailable offenses, right? Case. So I've always fought for bail. I mean, when she goes to NIB, I don't subscribe to them detaining her unnecessarily. You see, I subscribe to grant the accused bail or suspect bail. You see, she was outside the country and she has decided to come in. So so prima facie, this is not someone who wants to abscond, because if she wanted to, would she come in? So I would appeal that NIB, they should look at it. If she deserves bail, they should. If she doesn't, they have to go to court if they need to keep her beyond 48 hours. But they shouldn't unnecessarily do it. No, we should get to the substance of the matter. This one, from what we are hearing so far, looks like open and shut case. An open and shut case. In law, when we say a case is open and shut, it looks easy, because these ones, they were supposed to be a huge number of national service personnel. And then when they left office, the number has dropped. That's the most recent evidence. And even before then, the fourth estate has shown how the numbers have been ballooned. So I am hoping that this does not take that long. This does not take that long. So I don't think that there's somebody they should be keeping in custody for that long. No, go drill down, take the case to court, let's get in there, and then we would see where the acts would fall. Yes.
So you hold the view that it's an open and shut case. Others who also make the point that, I mean, it would not be that easy to establish guilt, and you know this, that in prosecution it's not an easy path establishing guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And so yes, the evidence you received at the oral level may show a certain level of guilt, but then again, as you indicated, if you drill down, would that also not present another issue or challenge for the prosecutors to look at? Because if there was any wrongdoing, as I've always indicated to you, Counsel, whoever is doing it would not leave their path unclean. They would also want to cover their path, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So from the Oware, as I said, we weren't doing investigations. We received the complaints, and the complaints were basically like what everybody would know in the public. What Fourth Estate did was what they brought to us. So it's not like there's extra evidence we dealt with, but we had to put it together for His Excellency and the Attorney General. So that's, what do you call it? That's, as far as I know, that's what happened, okay? Now, it's for her to go to NIB and show that all that information that the Fourth Estate showed is false. And especially as right now, the key thing is that when President Mahama took office, from what we have been told, when they asked the National Service Secretariat to bring the list of National Service persons, Kwasi Fusu is saying that the numbers have dropped by about 81,000 and over. That's the key thing Kwasi Fusu is saying, or Fusu is saying, that the numbers have dropped by 81,000 and some change. So the thing is that what has suddenly changed? What has suddenly changed? You see, so let us go and answer. Because I thought that if there was nothing untoward, and they should have been giving the answers quickly. You don't wait, you see, for this matter to fester in the public domain. You know, the way the mind works. If you leave too much time for people to go on with the one-sided allegations, later on, it's difficult. Unless it comes out crystal clear, black and white, people would say that, no, your answer doesn't add up. Because I'm wondering, if the numbers dropped, even from where she was, why couldn't she write on Facebook or write an open letter to the government that, no, you got it wrong? You have to respond immediately. Facebook, that's why now we have technology. So you hit back immediately. But this matter that the numbers have dropped significantly, it didn't start today. As far as I'm aware, it's been at least about 3 weeks now. Yes, this matter that when the president asked, so the finance minister asked that National Service Secretary they should bring their list for payment, etc. They said the number had dropped by that 81,000. So they want 81,000 and change that we are here. It didn't start today. Do you remember the exact date we went to the presidency to present the Oware report? It was a Monday. Saying, yes, that was the day I first heard it. So it's been around for long. So I wonder why she's kept quiet. If she did that, when you are clean, when you are absolutely clean, you don't even need a lawyer. Sometimes they will tell you that don't speak without a lawyer. Yes, that one applies when maybe you dealt with the matter in some way and so you can incriminate yourself. But if you are as clean as a whistle, if you never did anything about padding the numbers, putting in good names, you don't need a lawyer to defend you. It will all just be clean. So I'm really curious as to, not just curious, and a bit concerned. I'm concerned that is why she would allow this thing to go on for at least 3 weeks now and not say anything.
Counsel, we'll see how the coming days will look like on this. Appreciate you for this. Thank you, as always. I mean, come to you, Mr. Commodore, and then from the security perspective, we hear that the NIB is yet to take any action, even though this person they declared as wanted or inviting her for questioning has arrived in the country. How's the procedure like? What should we be expecting in the coming days?
Okay, so once investigation notice is served on subjects or suspects in crime investigation, particularly those in absentia, the investigation institution and officers have three main options among many others. The first one is to arrest the subject or the suspect on a point of entry, at any point of entry at all, in a jurisdiction which the crime is being investigated. The second one is that the subject of investigation or the suspect, in this case, Madam has not been charged yet. So we refer to her as a subject of crime investigation. She will voluntarily will have to report herself to the investigators assigned with the responsibility of investigating the case. That's number 2. Number 3 is for the investigation authority to invoke protocols with their international parties to arrest the suspect or the subject of investigation and deport her or extradite her to the country of jurisdiction where her interest is being wanted. In this case, she has arrived. So once she has arrived, they did not arrest her at the airport. What is likely to happen? We should not be surprised if she's arrested tonight or tomorrow morning. And we should also not be surprised if she voluntarily walk in with a lawyer or independently to meet the investigators to address the many of the questions they will want her to answer. So this is where we are now, Afed.
I see. But then again, also, Alexander Penyamakin talks about the due process being followed. In the matter of due process, what is the modus operandi in the National Intelligence Bureau or the BNI that you are part of?
So let's take it. In terms of due process, when you come under crime investigation, whether you have been charged, when you are charged, you are suspect. When you are not charged, we refer to you as a subject of investigation. In this case, Madam Gifty is wanted for some questions to be answered in relation to national service crime. She has arrived in the country, so due process is that arrest her when she has arrived, or ask her to voluntarily report herself at the investigation authority unit. That is the BNI, and that is what it is. So if they do not arrest her at the airport, and they do not arrest her tonight or tomorrow morning, then it presupposes that she will voluntarily report herself to the BNI officers at any of the units that will want her to do so. If she fails to do so, then they will go for arrest. And that arrest might include search warrant to search a premises and many of those things they will want to do.